My niece, whom I have custody of, told me that she would be staying after school every week for math club, which she truly needed help with. One day I showed up early to pick her up. As she walked out of the school with a group of other students, she had a rainbow sticker on each of her cheeks and a name tag reading omnigender, they/them. When I asked her to explain, because obviously this wasn't math help, she told me the librarian told the group that if your parents are homophobic, to just tell them you're staying for math help instead of attending the LGBTQ plus club. I don't care who you are. No one, absolutely not one teacher, has the right to coach children to lie to their parents. That is what groomers do. Teachers are telling children to keep secrets from their parents for their own agenda is 100% deplorable, and it never leads to the child's best interest. Secrets of chest binders also came out during my discussion with my niece. They are dangerous, can lead to fractured ribs, which in turn increases the risk of a punctured lung, chronic pain, and breathing difficulties, just to name a few. There is no place in KUSD schools for these discussions. Basically, self-harm is being taught by Bradford teachers and who knows what other schools. This is unacceptable. None of this is okay. I will go to the ends of the earth for my children to protect them. When teachers are telling children to lie to their parents, this is when my protective instincts go into full throttle. The line in the sand has been crossed. Do not mess with our children. And this is why my 4 children no longer attend KUSD.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I am a former transgender teen who was harmed by the gender-affirming care model here in the state. I was put on cross-sex hormones, puberty blockers, and underwent a double mastectomy before I was even legally an adult. We can make sure that what happened to me and thousands of other children here in the state of California will never happen again by supporting ballot initiatives to ban this practice from pediatrics at protectkidsca.com. Every donation counts, even if you don't live in California. This won't end until we end it here. What is a child worth to you?
Have you considered what behaviors, identities you are supporting under transgenderism? For example, are you in support of the path from social transition to puberty blockers to cross-sex hormones and removal of healthy sexual organs? If you endorse these options as a board, could a Chloe Cole, Abe Garcia, or Jazz Jennings sue you for their mutilation, sterilization, and lifelong drug dependency? And what does the plus T represent? Have you seen the over 50 groups such as bondage, dominance, submission, and sadomasochism that fall under the T, the plus? Do you want to endorse BDSM for minors? Do you want to have Franklin McKinley endorse the expansive list of furries, wolves, cats, falcons, doggies identities? What about the minor attracted people included in the plus group? Is this group to be endorsed as well by your school district? Are you ready for the legal implications? Finally, if you endorse this resolution, be clear you will be announcing you are not a safe place for students, parents, teachers, or staff who believe innocence is to be protected and not sacrificed to social agendas and powerful interest groups. I urge you to reject this resolution because it violates the spirit of CA Penal Code 261.5. It opens McKinley up to over 50 groups covered by the T and could result in financially harmful lawsuits for students, parents, and staff, as we are now witnessing across California and America.
Thank you.
Decision making is always based on the principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how these principles would affect minorities and other groups of interest. But I saw those principles being ignored at the April meeting. We had detransitioners, victims of sexual abuse, and even a transgender person bravely sharing their stories about the horrible consequences of keeping secrets from parents, yet their stories were ignored. So how can we talk about diversity when these people and their stories were totally ignored? How can we talk about equity when this decision gave results to only a vocal minority whose leaders don't even have any children, so have never raised one? How can we talk about inclusion while excluding parents? How can we talk about diversity when cultural sensitivity, cultural differences, and cultural perspectives were absent while making these decisions? You should have taken into consideration that children from different ethnic populations, religions, and backgrounds are held to different expectations and come from families where sexuality and subjects of that matter are sacred. Conversations reserved for the moment parents decide is the appropriate time to do so. There were other issues that were ignored, such as the language barrier. Many immigrants' children experience certain disabilities and mental issues. We cannot talk about privacy when you're making your sexuality public. Assuming every kid struggling emotionally is a perfect candidate for gender transition is as dangerous as assuming all parents are evil. So far we have seen 7 school districts who have passed the policy against secrets to parents, and it's time for Chico Unified to do the right.
We live in an extraordinary time when basic child safeguarding has been abandoned, and our schools are mandated to teach kids they were born in the wrong body if they don't fit profoundly homophobic stereotypes. School districts across our state are encouraging secrets between unrelated adults and minor children. And those districts brave enough to defend parental rights are targeted by Newsom, Bonta, and Thurmond, the same men who label parents dangerous while they insist on porn in schools. A child can declare they're the opposite sex or no sex at all, and an entire system will engage to socially transition them, informing every single person at the school while keeping it secret only from their parents. That's not privacy. Social transition is psychological abuse and a gateway to a lifetime of medicalization. Kids convinced they were born in the wrong body are given drugs that stunt and sterilize them and brutal surgeries that leave them with permanent painful disfigurement. Social transition compels every child to lie, severing their connection to reality and what it means to be human. It demands they see a boy when they know they're looking at a girl, and it forces girls to undress with boys who call themselves girls in locker rooms and share their single-sex spaces. Very soon, the damage from this homophobic movement will be seen by all. Like lobotomies and opioids, the gender medical industry will have to answer for these profound human rights violations as more and more detransitioners courageously speak out about the harms they've suffered. Listen to them and understand how they were groomed and affirmed into this profoundly damaging ideology. The time to be brave is now. Join those districts who support parental rights to guide and protect their children. This is not about politics or religion. This is about defending children's rights to grow up with healthy, intact bodies, because no child is born in the wrong body. Amen. Thank you.
My daughter self-diagnosed herself as transgender 6 years ago at the end of 8th grade while attending Sarah Villa Middle School. At that time, I was unaware that transgender ideology was fed to our youth through social media, therapy, and the California education system. My daughter, having ADD and many autistic traits, had difficulty socially and academically. She did not fit in the school system. But when she suddenly decided to become trans, she found overwhelming and unquestioned support from school personnel, therapy, and peers. This happened outside the home without my consent or knowledge. I feel horribly wronged and betrayed by the very people who I trusted to help, protect, and heal and educate my daughter. Ever since, I've been living in a hellish nightmare centered trans cult indoctrination. There is a lie by doctors.
Thank you.
No, I'm not done. But if you do not affirm
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry.
suicide. But the truth is that transgender individuals
Thank you.